Hi, buckle up. I hope you're ready for today's update because we have breaking news, another coup, and everything you need to know about what's happening in Africa today. Welcome back to What's Happening Africa with me, Tanya. Hi, and welcome back to the next episode of What's Happening Africa with Tanya. If you didn't know, we also have other social media platforms that are running alongside this YouTube channel, which include TikTok and Instagram, where you can find quicker updates and stories on what's happening in Africa every day, quicker, daily. You know how this goes. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all of those channels as well as this one. So today we're coming at you very quickly, very fast with fresh breaking news. A fire has broken up in Joburg city center this morning. Reports are stating that at least 64 people, and unfortunately counting, have died in a fire in the Joburg CBD that broke out this morning, Thursday, the 31st of August. The alerts about the fire were raised at 1:30 a.m. local time. The cause of the fire remains unknown, but researchers are claiming that it might be because someone lit a fire to stay warm. Firefighters evacuated several people from the building, and the injured are treated on the scene or transported to hospitals. Robert Mulaudzi, an official Johannesburg Emergency Management Service, told local media that one of these buildings is a hijacked and abandoned building in the inner city. Mr. Tswaku, a local government official, said there are indications that people lit fires inside the building to stay warm in the winter cold. After the fire was extinguished, smoke continued to seep out of the building, and reports of injuries are still coming in and more deaths are still being recorded. I might not be able to give you the recent updates as you'll probably watch this video towards the end of the day, but I will do my best to give you all the necessary updates on all the other social media platforms, including Instagram and TikTok. So don't forget to follow along on those platforms. Still in Southern Africa, the Zim election results were announced last weekend on Sunday, and some of us stayed up late to see and hear the results ourselves. Zimbabwe's incumbent president Emmerson Mnangagwa has been declared the winner of the country's presidential elections with 52.6% of the vote, securing a second 5-year term. His main opponent, Nelson Chamisa of the Citizens Coalition of Change (CCC) party, received 44% of the vote. Unfortunately, Chamisa and the party have claimed that they want a new vote or a recount, but this is unlikely to happen. We're just thankful that everything went peaceful, and although most of the systems were down in the country during the weekend, everything went well and no injuries or deaths were recorded. Observers from the African Union and the Southern African Development Commission (SADC) noted shortcomings in the election process. Those shortcomings include delays in the ballot papers arriving and some mistakes on some of the ballot papers, but still we're thankful that everything still went quiet and peaceful in the country. Leaders including South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, China and Russia have congratulated Mnangagwa, while the United States expressed concerns over bias against the opposition. Mnangagwa dismissed allegations of fraud, emphasizing transparency in the elections. On the topic of elections, Gabon is on all the headlines if you check all social media and news platforms right now, as a coup has broken out just before the elections were completed. In a surprising turn of events, military officers in Gabon have seized power from the president Ali Bongo Ondimba, who has ruled the nation for over half a century. The coup announced on national television has led to celebrations in the streets of the capital, Libreville, and the reported house arrest of President Bongo. On the other hand, President Bongo is on all social media platforms requesting the international community to make noise. This sounds awfully familiar to what's happening in Niger. The military officers under the banner of the Committee of the Transition and Restoration of Institution declared the cancellation of election results, the closure of borders, and the dissolution of state institutions. The coup has drawn condemnations from overseas, with France and the African Union criticizing the military intervention. The situation remains fluid as the military leaders plan to select someone to lead the transitional government. This coup is another addition to all the military takeovers that are happening in West and Central Africa. Gabon, a very rich and oil country, is struggling with power divisions, and the international community has a completely different perspective of what's happening in the nation right now, much similar to what we were discussing about in Niger. The question is, how are these two nations going to resolve these issues? And are the people in the country themselves satisfied with that result? Hopefully, I can bring you an update soon. Maybe next week, maybe in the few coming weeks. But this is a real conversation that we need to continue having because the needs and the cries of the African people seem to be slightly different from the ones of the international community. Moving to lighter topics, today we have a couple starting with a funny yet concerning crisis that happened in Kenya with the airport having no electricity for a couple of hours. Kenya's transport minister has ousted the head of the nation's airport authority in the wake of a significant power outage at Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The blackout, lasting roughly 2 hours, affected the airport's main terminal, causing flight cancellations and stranding passengers in darkness. Reports and social media also showed some individuals and travelers having to use their own torches during this crisis. Although Kenya Power eventually restored electricity to the airport after approximately 5 hours, the incident highlighted larger problems within Kenya's power infrastructure. Despite the government's acquisition of backup generators for the airport 2 years ago, these generators were not operational during the blackout. The outage underscores the disruptive impact of power failures at airports, a situation also seen at other global hubs such as Manila and JFK. Meanwhile, Kenya Power and Lake Takuna Wind Power Plant have engaged in a blame game over the cause of the nationwide outage, with the wind farm denying responsibility for the disruption. The blackout has drawn widespread criticism, shedding light, ironically, on the country's challenges with infrastructure and mismanagement. Electricity is an issue that is seen all across the African continent, with Zimbabwe having massive power outages as well as South Africa. Even though we call them different names, they are still power outages regardless. But on the topic of energy, Egypt is showing us a brighter, more positive light on how we can save our environment and enjoy light at the same time. Egypt's Minister of Environment, Yasmin Folood, engaged in discussions with Waterway Real Estate Development Company representatives and researchers from a German research center regarding the establishment of Egypt's first Center for Recycling, Construction and Demolition Waste. The meeting, attended by Ministry of Environmental officials, aimed to assess the potential and obstacles for implementing this project, which aims to transform waste into usable building sector projects. Fawad emphasized the ministry's commitment to supporting environmental investments and creating a favorable environment for waste-related initiatives. She viewed the project as a prototype that could inspire similar endeavors across Egypt, highlighting its collaborative nature between Egypt, Germany, research institutions, and the private sector. Forward anticipates the project's inclusion in Egypt's inaugural Environmental and Climate Investment Conference. A forthcoming meeting with the Building and Housing Research Center will delve deeper into recycling research and project execution. A preliminary contract is poised to be signed at the conference, serving as a pioneering example of construction and demolition waste recycling in Egypt. We applaud Egypt and their ministry for taking a priority in saving the environment and recycling. We hope that other nations in Africa take a similar stance and make movements towards a greener earth and more energy, hopefully electricity, across the continent. And finally, a comedy festival in DRC is making light of political disagreements, and not in a way that will make you cringe. The Zéro Polémik Comedy Festival has returned to Bukavu for its 6th edition, spanning 3 days and featuring various comedic genres such as stand-up, improv, and farcical comedy. Organized in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the festival's main objective is to foster peace and social cohesion within local communities, both in the DRC and the broader Great Lakes region. The festival's organizer highlights humor as a tool for education and social harmony. The region, historically plagued with conflict, finds solace in this laughter-filled event. Comedians including Ivorian Kwame Gillis Ramald Bokari emphasized how comedy can transcend political affiliations, uniting people in shared laughter and promoting peace. The festival concluded on August 27 and featured renowned comedians such as Mitchell Goho and Clementine Popet. My readings for names today may not be the best, forgive me for that, but you get the point. Maybe I must add in the names of the people at the bottom just so that you can correct me if I'm saying them wrong. On the topic of correction, please do not hesitate to comment below what you think, what you want to hear about, and what you want to see in the next episode of What. Thank you once again for watching What's Happening Africa with me, Tanya, and I hope you stay up to date and click on the Instagram link below so that you can see all the updates on what's happening in Joburg and around the world. Thank you and have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.